two goals in the first half, but then it seemed pretty level on the day. What did you see out of the performance? And then is it disappointing to follow up the midweek Champions Cup draw against Stigidus with this performance with this loss?
Yeah, I mean, first I would say, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they probably created three chances and scored two goals. So, I thought in the first half a little bit they were overloading our back line, and we didn't necessarily do a great job of managing that situation. I thought we were impatient with the ball at times, which also got us kind of spread out. This isn't the easiest place to play when it comes to altitude, and the field is in terrible condition, and so just it's not a game you want to get into transitions back and forth, up and down. It's not an easy place for stuff like that, and I felt like we were rushing our possessions, and then we weren't really getting to the ball pressure wise on the defensive side, and then they were overloading the back line, and we weren't doing a great job of managing that, which is what I think led to a couple of the chances. Some bad decisions on the second goal to release to try to get pressure to the ball, and then we don't get pressure to the ball, and we just get opened up. So yeah, I think there's errors in there. So it's disappointing to give up two goals, because I felt like once we kind of settled in and became a touch more patient on the ball and closed up some of the spaces, then I felt like, okay, everything was relatively managed. The question was, can we create chances? And the answer to that so far, most of the season, has been not very much. I mean, we had still a lot of attacks that look like they can be promising, and then they turn into not much promising. And so then it becomes an uphill battle when you're at altitude, down two goals, and you're not in the moment. We're not creating clear chances. We had some looks, some shots from distance, some things that look like we're going to get to somewhere good, and then we don't. So look, in this week with as many injuries as we have and 4 games, there's priorities. Let's just be straight. Like, there's priorities. This week backing up the Champions League game to this game, I would have liked us to be cleaner at this game, especially on the defensive side and not giving up the goals. But there's priorities that are also focused on Tuesday right now. And then we finished this 4-game stretch with a home game. And so, again, there's priorities, and given where we are health-wise and everything else, we have to try to manage through some of these moments. And so there was opportunities inside of today for some guys who haven't played a ton to be able to kind of learn and show what they're going to continue to bring and grow inside of it. And so they had some opportunity. But the reality of the situation is we're just trying to one game at a time. Continue to get healthy, build the fitness of a couple guys, but not risk guys. So like John and Mickey are two guys who are coming back from having injuries for 2 to 3 weeks. They can't play 4 games in 2 weeks right now. It's a huge risk for them. So we tried to manage them through this one. Joe build his fitness while managing him. Like, there's a lot of variables that we're playing with right now, and trying to prioritize the things that we can prioritize while looking at 2 big games in front of us as well.
Greg, there was no shots on targets today created by the team. Where was that disconnect offensively in your eyes, and what would you have liked to have seen from this rotated squad?
Yeah, I think we get into some attacks where we look like we're building some speed, and we hit a cross into somebody. Instead of bidding the cross to where we need to, we get somebody in a crossing situation. We don't get a hard run to the near post across the face of the goal that disrupts the keeper's ability to come out and handle it. We get some knockdown second shots from 12 yards or 14 yards out, and we sky it over the bar. It's like some of these things have to fit together. Creating chances is not super easy. It's something where you got to have 2-3 parts fit together, and you got to execute in the final action. And so, I felt like details on that were, I keep saying the same thing, but I felt like the technique sometimes failed us, the choice sometimes failed us, and sometimes it was, neither team was creating a ton of chances, to be fair. It was not an easy field to play on and to combine actions and stuff like that, and the final action, and I felt like that wasn't the only thing that hurt us, but I felt like that didn't help us, and I felt like we're already having a hard time connecting parts of an action to make sure that it ends up in a really good chance. So I think there was some of that inside of there too. Yeah, so you aggregate it and you end up with not a lot. Tuck had a couple good looks from reasonable distance. You'd like to think we would hit that goal. We had a couple breaks on the right where it felt like we could get the ball into a dangerous place, and we hit a defender that we're trying to cross to, or we hit it into the keeper. Just again, little like execution things that we got to tighten up.
Uh, Noticed that Gabriel Pecchi wasn't on the team sheet today. He wasn't in training as well on Thursday. How serious is that hip injury? Will he be available on Tuesday? What's his prognosis of play?
Yeah, and you probably recall the play where he was going pretty close to top speed, and their player from Tigres cuts him off, and he kind of ends up landing on his back and hip in the non-yellow card somehow situation. He landed very awkward, bit of a hip pointer or hip contusion inside of that. The goal here was to not put him out there today because we felt like a few days could really benefit him and getting him ready for Tuesday. So the hope is he'll be ready for Tuesday. He'll be into the training environment tomorrow so that we can see him moving around and see exactly how he's feeling and loosening up and things like that. So we're optimistic, but I can't give you that answer right this minute.
And then that's 7 games now without a win here in the league. I've spoken to a couple of the players and they feel that the team's just right there on the cusp. The performances are getting better, but with this type of performance, does it set the locker room or yourself even back in belief at all? Is it a challenge to stay positive during this stretch?
No, I mean we're all frustrated at the loss and the day and the way we gave up goals, and of course the day was going to be its challenge no matter what. I mean, I think we're all realistic about certain things, and so I think the key here is that you have to understand, and the guys understand, that we were here to try to get a result and to grind and dig something out, but also that we had a rotated group that we wanted to try to get us as far into this game at 0-0 or grind it out or put us in a position to get a result, and see where that led us for the last 30, 45 minutes. So everybody kind of understands. Nobody likes losing, and everybody feels these things. But the reality is you feel very different, when it doesn't matter what team it is, when you can get your best players on the field that have the best opportunity to create chances, create goals. The continuity of the group matters, things like that. So, we're all very aware of Tuesday as a huge opportunity for us as a team and the club in Champions League. And then again, home games are going to need to be important. Those are games we really need to get wins and get stuff out of. And so it's priority. So yeah, nobody likes to lose, and everybody is disappointed and upset and frustrated. But at the same time, it'll be a very different look in the group and the feel, I think, as we go into a very difficult place to play in Tigres on Tuesday. So,
speaking of Tuesday, Greg, will you have? You had mentioned that you were targeting maybe Mauricio for Tuesday, Lucas for Tuesday, perhaps. Will Marco be available for Tuesday?
Of the group of players you just named, Lucas is probably the closest to being ready. Mauricio is getting there. He hasn't really put any real training sessions under his belt, but he's doing a lot of the controlled environment stuff that he needs to do to be making progress. So I don't think he would be ready by Tuesday. We'll see if he's ready by the weekend. Marco was out running. On the field, which is a step in the right direction from where he was, a week ago or a few days ago. So, but I don't think he's done enough in terms of preparation to necessarily be ready for Tuesday. So maybe Lucas, obviously Gabe, hopefully will be back, and then some of the guys that obviously didn't get a ton of minutes or any minutes today, are guys who we have ready to go for Tuesday.
Thanks so much, Greg. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for your time, Greg.